later. But what I want to stress at this stage is that as important as the battles we fight in the parliaments, whether it's the European or the national parliaments, along with the legislative battles, we also have to fight a battle for the minds. It's an ideology that is on the other side. They're trying to change people's minds. The French Minister of Culture, Christine Albanel, when she was alive, and when she was defending the Hadopi law, literally said publicly in the French Parliament, Hadopi, the 3 strikes, is about changing people's minds. It's about creating a psychological frame. So this is really what it is about. It is about an ideology. Sorry about that. So, you all see what I'm referring to. All their policies are based on one very single lie. And looking again, sorry, more boring part, looking again at ACTA, you can find a smoking gun of their lies. They said, in determining the amount of damages for infringement of intellectual property rights, a party's judicial authority shall have the authority to consider inter alia any legitimate measure of value the right holder submits, which may include lost profits, the value of the infringed goods or services measured by the market price, or the suggested retail price. They have to write it somewhere. They have to make it law that their prejudice is measurable in lost profits, in market price, in suggested retail price. This is the core of their lie. When they say that file sharing harms them, they have never been capable of demonstrating that seriously. Therefore, they have to write it, so you know it's right, because it's written. So, this is what pisses me off. Of course, you can produce figures that say, oh, look at the numbers, oh, we're all going to die. And they use that abundantly. There was a very important vote that we lost in the European Parliament about an initiative report that will prepare the future of copyright enforcement. It was the Gallo report. You probably didn't hear about it, or else you would have acted and we would have won. In the Gallo report, the industry came up with a fantastic study. Methodology was complete rubbish. It said that piracy will cost Europe millions of billions of jobs. And the politicians got this and were, oh, shaking. You look at the title and you start shaking. You don't need to go into the details, the methodology or whatever. And when the Social Science Research Council looked at the methodology, they laughed. The study said, okay, money will just vanish. That's life, no? Huh? And then artists will die and jobs will be lost. So they have a very powerful way of producing fake evidence of their ideology. But if you look at the real data, you see that the budget of people for culture is increasing all the time, a long time. Well, of course, video games are culture. We all know that. Don't we? But some people didn't understand that yet. So this is among the things we need to make them understand. If you look at the concerts, and this is a study, very recent study from October 2010, you see that literally since Napster, the concerts exploded. This is for the US, but the figures are the same all over Europe. If you look at the ticket sales in the cinema, you will see once again record years in the last years. And at this URL on the bottom, lqdn.fr/P2P studies, you will find dozens, literally more than 20 independent and scientific studies that show the same thing. That show that file sharing has either no impact or very small impact on the physical sales, that people who do the more file sharing are people who spend the more for culture. Of course. Like people who borrow the more books in the libraries are the people who read the more, therefore the people who buy the more books. We know that. But it's being proved by real evidence, real data, scientific people. So this is what we need to make everyone understand. Not only the policymakers, but everyone. Sharing helps culture. More than that, not only sharing helps culture, but culture only exists if it is shared. This is how we get to know artists, this is how we get to love the works. This is how it works, and it cannot work otherwise. The same way that sharing makes us smart. The internet is born through the sharing of knowledge. Free software, Wikipedia, are born through sharing knowledge and information. Computer security, cryptography, comes from sharing knowledge. The languages we speak come from sharing knowledge. So at this stage, we have to make it very clear. This is the message we need to convey. Sharing, for Christ's sake, as a US citizen would say. Sharing, it's all about sharing. And this is what we stand for. This is what we are doing. And this is what we need to continue to do for society to, not to look exactly like this, but for our society to work better. We have global issues to address right now, whether it's in the financial, the environmental, the energetic sides. How can we address those global issues if not by sharing information, sharing knowledge, and sharing the power to decide? So this is one core thing to do at this stage, I think. We've been with negative opposition discourses for a very long time, opposing bad legislation when they come. We can now come with a positive message. Sharing is good. All we want to do is to be able to share. And then we can address the question of how to fund creation in the digital age, the question of the business models and yada, yada, yada. But all we want to do is to share, because sharing is good. And we should not be ashamed of it. So we have a unique opportunity between our hands, because we still have the tools to do it. And dozens of structures, I just name a few of our friends here, but dozens of structures exist already in which you can invest your time, your energy, in which you can contribute with your skills, in which you can donate money if you have no time nor skills, to help promote this objective, to help promote sharing. And more importantly, if you don't recognize yourself in any of those, you can grow your own. You can create your own organization, your own structure. You can, right now, open a blog to talk about it. And this is very, very important thing to do. You have to understand that we still have between our hands the opportunity to do so. We still have between our hands the tools to do so, which is basically a free, open, therefore neutral internet. And we have the knowledge on how to use it. So we have a moral imperative, because we know what is going on, because we understand what is going on. We have this responsibility to use those tools in order to defeat attacks to our fundamental freedoms and to a free internet, whatever they are, whenever they come, and to promote those ideas that sharing is good and necessary. Thank you.